There is something in the warp. It stalks the nightmares that haunt your cowardly dreams. It is unknowable, as are we, its sons, rightly feared. Its shadow has enveloped worlds into oblivion. Its maw ripped apart civilizations. Everything will come to pass. But not us. Not before we all face down the fierce eye of the Dreadwolf.
The Dreadwolves are a Primaris successor chapter of the Sixth Legion, the Space Wolves. They inhabit a planet that goes by the name of Earthmore, a feral world in the segmentum obscurus of the Imperium Nihilus, where they built a fortress monastery called Nightfall. Their members are recognizable by an armor covered in deep blue, similar but darker than the one of the 8th Legion, the Night Lords. Their chapter insignia consists of the pale white symbol of the ravaging wolf's heads, Morkai, on a light black field. As sons of Leman Russ, the Dreadwolves are all born fighters with a hot temper and innate sense for competition, and will often challenge each other on the battlefield over glory and legacy. The one real thing setting them aside from their father chapter are the upper echelons of command, distinguished by a far colder demeanor and detached relationship to deeds of war and sagas, and more bent on the precise and efficient sorting out of operations. They are mostly composed by wolf priests, the Vilka Fenrika equivalent for chaplains. The vast use the Dreadwolves make of them is to educate and temper the personality of their warriors. But not only that, great parts of their duties, more so than in most of the chapters, consists in the lecture of the credo on which the chapter is founded, acting as a firm and powerful palm to hold the mighty chapter's forces. Dreadwolves' wolf priests guide their sons to tear down any and all foes of the Imperium with ruthless precision and determination. Praised and revered above all is Himilr the Unbroken, who carries the position of both chapter master and master of sanctity, and his figure is what all Dreadwolves strive to be alike: grim, stoic. He's moved by an unshakable iron will, merciless in his judgment and swift in his legendary rage. He is the founder of all the teachings by which the Dreadwolves live by, and so is considered to be the harbinger of Morkai's words and will. Unlike the vast majority of Primaris chapters created to enforce the Indomitus Crusade, the Dreadwolves' origins aren't clear. For the very few that know of their existence, they are an ancient company of space wolves, led by a wolf lord named Lochfar the Bloody. But there hasn't been news of him and his warriors since the age of Scouring, all except for one, Himilr the Unbroken himself. The story of this now very old and seasoned warrior of the Imperium is intrinsically part of the chapter's origins, and has been told many times between its members. So much indeed to almost become subject of worship, material of legends. It's a story that tells of the times he was but a member of Lochfar's Wolf Guard, together with his best friend, Hingham Glintingfang. It tells of the vows of blood and honor made to celebrate the Red Hunt, a mission to follow and destroy all traitors from Holy Terra, to even the Eye of Terror during the Scouring. It tells of their deeds of glory and eventual downfall by the hand of one infamous traitor. Such a story is known as the Forthcoming of Morkai. Deep within the Eye of Terror, the once powerful company of wolves was now worn down by what could have been centuries of unending slaughter. the endless hordes of traitors and maleficarum, never ceasing their assaults. Himilr and Ingam were part of Lochfar's wolf guard, the company's best combatants. It was only natural for them to be the three last wolves standing in the end, back to back on a pile of mauled bodies. The towering Vilka Fenrika ate the pain of their wounds with clenched fangs. Bloodied from head to toe, and almost made mad by the endless visions of slaughter of friends and foes alike, they found themselves finally surrounded, and in that moment, the seeds of a long-sown betrayal were harvested. Whilst Himilr was split from his wolf lord as the demons attacked, Ingam drove his frost sword deep in Lochfar's back. Himilr couldn't believe what he was witnessing, but the demons wouldn't let him intervene. Raging against the burning pain of betrayal, Lochfar powered through the lethal wound and slashed Ingam's face with his lightning claw. Ingam fell back, his mouth opened by a wide cut from lip to lip, but only to lunge in a murderous assault once again. The fight, though, was not meant to last. As mighty and proud as the Wolf Lord could be, he could only sustain his wounds for so long. After being struck by a clawed hand to the face, losing his helmet, Lochfar was brought to his knees. Even then, the defiance of a true son of the Allfather glared in his eyes. At last, Himilr managed to free himself from the demons, but it was already too late. The last image he had of his wolf lord was him on his knees, dwarfed by the demonic aura of the traitor, fang bared in a powerful howl before being struck down. At that moment, Himilr was thought to have lost all reason. He charged Ingam, but the maddening rage he felt made him clumsy, predictable, and so he was easily disarmed and punched down. Once, twice, thrice, as he tried to defend himself. Then, amidst the struggle, Himilr's vision went blank. He did not hear anything. No more cries of war and fury. He didn't feel anything. No more rage or hatred. He was alone, in the blackness of the pitiless void. Suddenly, a thundering crack rent the atmosphere and revealed the shape of an immense two-headed wolf, staring him down with yellow glinting eyes, its maws dripping with the remnants of wars and slaughters from across the galaxy. Himilr noticed he now was no longer in the void, but in the middle of a forest, battered by rain and crushing winds, as the skies rumbled and shivered with the power of lightning. Morkai, the Dread Wolf, spoke to him. He presented a deal, offered to him his soul in servitude, together with the ones of all who would have followed him, and in return, he would give to all of them the power to bring down their foes. As Himilr bowed to the majesty of the god of Fenris, he accepted the offer. And once the son of Rus raised his head to look upon Morkai's immane and wild beauty, the god's terrible jaws snapped on his pitiful body. In that moment, Himilr's mind snapped back to the reality of the slaughter, Ingam now holding him by his chest armor, as if only mere instants had passed since Morkai's vision tore him from the mortal world. The traitor made him an offer. Join him. Together they would ravage the galaxy and rip from the blood and guts of their mauled enemies the oh-so-powerful rewards of chaos. Ingam locked his now black pit eyes on Himilr, who felt the demonic influence entering his very soul, twisting and corrupting it. But then, a violent warmth invaded his body. New energy overcame the age-long fatigue brought by centuries of fighting. Now, Hingham's influence was finding resistance and remaining attached to Himilr. Somebody, was fighting him from within. With gritted teeth, Himilr closed shut his eyes and concentrated solely on the battle within, uniting his forces with Morkai's spirit. Despite the new power the Chaos Gods gifted Hingham, he was overwhelmed by a psychic might that well surpassed his own, by a stalwart determination and spirit that none could hope to break. As the startled traitor found himself being thrown out from the Vilka Fenrika's soul, the last thing he saw was yellow glinting eyes staring in his soul, before Himilr grabbed Lochfar's axe from the ground and launched onto him to rip his skull in two, carving a bloody path in the name of his new god, bringing with him the body of his fallen lord. Himilr found a way to leave the Eye of Terror, exploiting some of the traitor's equipment, and so reuniting with the Imperium. Then, he traveled, feeling a new instinct awakened within him. He followed it to the far reaches of the galaxy, away from his home world of Fenris, finding finally what he would one day call home. The place where he first met Morkai during his vision in the Eye of Terror. A planet, one covered in dense and infinite forests, battered by storms and everlasting rain. Earthmorn, home of the Dreadwolves. To this day, a corpse rests silently in an ancient crypt, part of the reliquary at the heart of Nightfall, the fortress monastery of the Dreadwolves. Within is said to lay the husk of Lochfar the Bloody himself, and is venerated as such. But only the chapter master, Himilr, has access to it.
Come, brothers. Let us give the traitors a warm welcome. These self-proclaimed bringers of the only truth. Let us teach such pitiful scribes our truth. For in the wild exists only one reality: hunter and quarry.
This is everything that is known about the Dreadwolves, as scarcely recognized as they are already, besides their combat tactics and rites of initiations, very similar to the ones employed by their progenitors, the Space Wolves. But there is so much more that the walls of Nightfall won't leak out. Truth is, the Dreadwolves have very good reasons to keep their existence hidden, and the secrets they conceal are the things of nightmares. On darkened soil, those who fail the rite of passing prowl the wild. The light of the perpetual full moon washes over their wretched forms as they traverse the endless forests of Earthmorn, their planet. Maddened by hunger, mauled by rage, they hunt forever. For many, this would be considered a curse, but for the Dreadwolves, it is a blessing. This is the credo of the Dreadwolves, the Ulvradir.
Let the beast die before you do.
The Ulvradir is the credo upon which Himilr the Unbroken has founded the Dreadwolves, and instructs its followers many different teachings. Besides a strict moral code and code of conduct, it works as a guide for every warrior's soul and spirit. It enlightens the figure of the Emperor as the only true god of mankind. But at the same time, it depicts Morkai, the wolf god of Fenrisian mythos, as the savior of mankind, the incarnation of the Emperor's righteous fury. And the dread wolves are nothing but the chosen followers of this divinity. Some even receive the god's blessing and are granted the gift. To receive the gift is one of the greatest honors a dread wolf can aspire to. It means being chosen by Morkai to be the herald of its wrath and might, even if at great costs and risks. Not all, in fact, prove themselves worthy to serve their god. The wolf priests of the chapter are especially skilled in training these space marines to test their spirits so that they can prove themselves capable of controlling the gift. Once the gift has first manifested, these battle brothers are taken to the home planet of the chapter, Earthmorn. Then they are brought to the lowest levels of their fortress, the Nightfall, where they are taken care of by the wolf priests. The ritual they perform is conducted under a great round window that looks upon the planet's sky. As the Space Marines are washed by the light of its ever-dawning moon, the Wolf's Eye, utilizing the power residing in it, they treat the spirit and body of these Space Marines to empower the effects of the gift, so as to bring them to the very limit. Then, with their bodies overwhelmed by the pain of mutation, they are released into the endless forests that cover the planet. Ever shrouded in midnight, mauled by furious storms, they are left miles away from the Nightfall, naked, without food or water. It is their mission to come back to the fortress, with only the light of the perpetual full moon and their instincts to guide them. They will have to hunt and kill to survive, whilst hiding from their former brethrens, the ones to fail the right. For they now roam the lands as mindless predators, moved only by endless hunger. If they succeed, then Himilr himself will welcome them into the elite of the Dreadwolves, the first company of the chapter, the Fangs of Earthmorn.
The enemy doesn't know who they are meddling with. For almost more than 10 millennia, the Imperium has choked under an ocean of chaos. Today will be its first fresh gasp. The first of many yet to come. For we are the sons of the Dreadwolf. We move with the unshakable will of man, and fight with the conviction gifted us by our God. We fight with the memory of ancient oaths, yet unfulfilled. At our backs stands the power to devour worlds and snuff out stars. What are they to stand before us? These wretched pawns of wheezing gods? Let the hunt begin.
To behold the assault of this elite force of the Dreadwolves is to look upon fear and terror incarnate. Their mighty battleships fly in low orbit, clouding the sun's beams from ever touching the assaulted planet's crust. As they send their forces to the assault, high Gothic, Fenrisian-like canticles shock the air together with the mechanized howls of wolves, disrupting communications and plunging the besieged position into chaos. The wolf priests start singing in unison the prayer to their god as they prepare the battlefield for their arrival in the most sacred of the Dreadwolves' rituals, the Hawkmoon, the summoning of the Wolf's Eye. Then, as innumerable drop pods' flaming tails tear apart the skies, Nightfall descends on the planet, and the wolf's eye opens. The heavens darken with thick, dark clouds, bringers of flaying winds and crushing rains. As the sun is suffocated by night's darkness, a pale, white moon takes its place. Suddenly all chants and canticles cease, leaving a pitiless void, a sound where the noise was once deafening. Myriads of yellow glinting eyes emerge from the pitch-black darkness. Like fireflies, they dance in the moonlight. When the enemy hears a wolf's howl breaking the silence, it's already too late. The hunt has begun.
Fools. That's what they are. As righteous as our distant brothers may be, they have forgotten their purpose, their allegiance. They swore to the All-Father, and to him alone. But without his guiding hand, they are little more than leashless dogs that throw themselves into every fight they meet, selfishly searching for glory. Let them be heroes. While they struggle to keep the Imperium afloat, we shall be its ultimate saviors. We are the ones to save the All-Father.
On this channel, we are putting together narrative Total War cinematic battles and Warhammer lore videos. A special thank you goes to our Patreon supporters who help us in the making of more content. You can also join Patreon and earn extra perks while supporting the videos to come. Find the link in the description below. Make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching. See you on the next one.